IGEPHA im Gespräch. Der Podcast der Austrian Self-Care Association.
Guten Tag und herzlich willkommen bei IGEPHA im Gespräch, dem Podcast der Austrian Self-Care Association. Mein Name ist Christina Nageler, ich bin Geschäftsführerin der IGEPHA. Wir starten mit einem wichtigen Thema in den Herbst und wenden dazu den Blick über die Grenzen Österreichs hinaus. Es geht um die Verankerung der Self-Care in konkreten Konzepten für die nationalen Gesundheitssysteme, sogenannte Self-Care-Strategien. Da meine Gesprächspartner fast alle nicht deutschsprachig sind, wird diese Staffel in englischer Sprache abgehalten. Daher wechsle ich nun ins Englische. Welcome to our podcast, IGEPHA im Gespräch, the podcast of the Austrian Self-Care Association. My name is Christina Nageler and I'm General Manager of the IGEPHA. This fall, we cover an important topic and are looking beyond Austria's borders. We will find best practices for self-care concepts worldwide, so-called self-care strategies. We will talk to insiders from countries around the world about self-care systems and how they are developing self-care strategies and what we can learn for Austria. I'm very pleased to be able to welcome my colleague in Switzerland for my first episode in this new podcast season. Martin Bangerter, the Managing Director of the Swiss Association for Self-Medication ASSGP. Hello, Martin. Great that you joined our podcast today.
Hello, Christina. Thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here.
Let me introduce my guest to you. Martin has been leading the Swiss Self-Care Association since 2018, representing the interests of manufacturers of non-prescription drugs, dietary supplements, and medical devices. Together with me and other representatives of the self-care industry, Martin works also on the board of the European Self-Care Association AESGP. Martin is a qualified druggist and has an executive master's degree in non-profit management. I'm now talking to Martin about Switzerland's ambitions in the area of self-care. Martin, can you tell our audience about the self-care system in Switzerland and how it moved forward during the last years?
Yes. So in Switzerland, we have traditionally broad possibility of self-medications in Switzerland. We have a lot of indications for pharmacies and in Switzerland also for drugstores. And also a lot of substances. If you compare with the European study, you will see Switzerland is about in the middle, a bit more than the middle in Germany, and also in Austria you have a bit more substances. But in Switzerland we have a lot of distribution points. These are, as I mentioned before, pharmacies and then also drugstores. Drugstores in Switzerland because they have a special training and that allows them to distribute all non-prescription pharmacies, not like you have it in Germany or also in Austria. You have some pharmaceutical products in self-service. In Switzerland we have that also, but the other ones we have 2,300 point of sales for that, and they are on a high level to explain also to people what they can do, and that gives a lot of power for self-medication.
That's very interesting. Which other measures have been implemented in Switzerland to go forward with self-care? What would you say?
Since several years, especially the pharmacists are working to get more services that they can distribute to their patients. So vaccinations, for example. Now in Switzerland, since 2-3 years, in every canton, there are possibilities for vaccinations in pharmacies. Then there is a system called NetCare. That means that you go in a pharmacy There they have, for several indications, they have algorithm. They talk with the patients about this algorithm. And if they have the impression they need a consultation by a doctor, they do a video conference with the doctor. And if he finds out that there is needed a prescription for prescription medicines, he can give the prescription directly to the pharmacy. And the patient only pays for the consultation, the video consultation. And that moves also forward this kind of self-medication with prescription medicines in Switzerland, and takes the workload also from the GPs to the pharmacist. So there are a lot of other services in discussion, but not realized at the moment.
I have two more questions. First, regarding what you just said, how many people use these services already? And the other part, tell us a bit more about what is in discussion and what might come within the next years to Switzerland.
So how many people? I don't know exactly how many people. I had to ask the pharmacist associations, but it is rising. It is rising at the moment. At the first part, it was a bit difficult because also the pharmacists, they were obligated to do some trainings that they can offer these services, to learn all this algorithm, to learn how to do the video conference. And there was, in the first times, was not so much of pharmacists. They offered the services. But now you find around where you live in Switzerland, you find a pharmacy who is doing that. And with more pharmacists, it is rising that the people use these services also. And also the doctors see more and more that can help them to take some workload for indications. You not have to go really to a doctor, but you have an exchange with the doctor to have a clarification. Is it really necessary to do more, to do some laboratory or something else? And if not, it can stay in the pharmacy. You get the prescription, and normally the problem is solved. And if it is not solved, then it is indicated to go to a pharmacist. You ask for other services. So, for example, there are some assurances. They try to do to motivate the people to empower themselves, to give them some support also. That begins with sports, but goes then also further to services in pharmacies or drugstores. If they need these services, they can do that. And then now especially in the last year, we got some apps also. You can take some services from there, and you do some checks. You can also take directly contact with the pharmacy or with the doctor. And if needed, you can get the prescription directly from there.
And do they plan to decrease then the fee for the insurance if you use these services? Or what is the benefit for the...
Yeah, there are some benefits. It depends the assurance, but there are some benefits you get. You can collect some points, and if you have enough of points, you have once a benefit you get.
Sounds great. As the head of the Swiss Self-Care Association, what arguments do you use to draw attention to the importance to, let's call it, a national self-care strategy or self-care as a whole system?
So the main argumentation is to show politicians and also the people, also other stakeholders, that you can save doctors' hours, you can save also work hours for the people who is ill or means to be ill. We show them that if you go to a pharmacy or a drugstore, the way is really short. The money you have to pay there, if you compare how many costs you have to take for yourself. Also, if you can pay it by the assurances, the rest a bit costs you have to pay there, and you have much more time you have to invest for that. So all these points we show, and we are also here, but what we see, what we miss is data. So we try to get more data to prove also all our arguments. At the moment, the arguments for everybody, it is clear that it must work there and it can save also money before you go in the, for me, this is not the health zone, it's the illness system. Before you go in the illness system, and you can save money there before. But when we have data, we can show also with figures how much that will bring for the system.
So what are your next steps? Getting data or any other steps you plan?
Yes. We decide in the board to do the study with Maybauer, as the Austrian Association did also, as the German Association did, and now also the European Association did. We decide to do this study end of this or beginning next year. To get on the first part, we want to get this data on the socio-economic levels. On the other one, we work with Maybauer also because they have a lot of experience with all the other studies I mentioned before, also for the World Federation. And the third one, we like to have also comparable data. So we can also show which benefits in other countries maybe we have to bring in Switzerland, because you can measure then and you compare these services in self-medication also in other countries, and also show what, for example, I mentioned Netcare, what Netcare brings to saving health costs.
Thanks for these insights in the Swiss model. And my last question for today, what would be your recommendation for Austria? What can we learn from Switzerland? What is the best part of self-care in Switzerland? What should we implement in Austria?
So for me, one of the best parts in Switzerland is that we have a broad offer of substances in pharmacies and drugstores, but they have to do all this training. So it is not self-service for the people. And that gives the power to go also deeper with indications, broader with indications, as in countries you have pharmacies and then you have the markets, all the supermarkets and drugstore markets. We don't have so much drugstore markets in Switzerland, but this know-how to give the people and all this trust from the people in pharmacies and drugstores to do self-medication and to empower themselves also for, a bit higher prices than you find them around Switzerland. The people do this, also because they trust there and they see then also they don't need so much of time to get health or back to health. They need not so much of money, and they get really good informations also for their health. And the other one is, but this do also other countries like Austria, for example, services in pharmacies and in Switzerland also drugstores to implement in the self-care market.
Thank you, Martin, for this wonderful insight to the Swiss market, and have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Same to you. Thank you. Bye, Christina.
The Austrian Self-Care Association is happy to serve its 120 members. The IGEPHA has been committed to the concerns of the self-care industries and the strengthening of self-care in Austria since 1967. If you would like to find out more about our association, I look forward to hearing from you. You can reach out by email at office@igepha.at. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to our new episode of IGEPHA im Gespräch. Thank you.